we've got the Run Club. We're back. We had the weekend off. We're up on the Gold Coast. Yep. We were running on the footy field, but we're back down at Centennial Park. So we've changed the day to Sunday so we can mix and mingle with everyone.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be down there. 6:30 start, Centennial Park, Homestead Cafe stairs. We'll see you down there.
See you there.
This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG, Willie Mason.
What's happening?
OG, one thing I love, when we're rolling in this morning, a truck was driving past us just in front of the studio to film the show, and Uncle Widemu gets screamed outside of the reason I like when people say Uncle Widemu, because that is a reflection of not you being the 04 Clive Churchill medalist, is that they follow our podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Because you weren't Uncle Widemu back in the day before last year.
Not till last year.
When I hear that, it's always like a gratifying message or response to know that we're
that was funny, eh?
That people were entertained by the potty. So I thought I had a little giggle to myself before.
Especially when you hear that Uncle Widemu.
Speaking of
and
Uncle Widemu,
followed by Up the Wires.
Yeah. Speaking of Up the Wires, Uncle Widemu, it's going to be nice and sharp today.
Yep.
But because we're in the meat and potatoes of the ladder, the top four, I thought rather than doing all four teams, let's do 4 and 3, which is the Warriors and Melbourne Storm.
We've got to break it down good.
Yeah, we're going to a little bit more detailed with these two teams because they deserve it. We've also got some updated news from the whole Tamalolo Chad Townsend situation as well. Todd PAYTEN made some comments about the leadership there or the transition into the leadership. There are reports that Jack Wighton is considering coming out of retirement for Origin. I really want to get your opinion on that. And copped a little bit of backlash about Sharks not making the 8 and me being a Sharks hater. So I've got some stats for the Sharks fans out there. So
don't go the shy, man.
That'll be one of the YouTube questions, plus some more questions around the Warriors and Storm as well. But before we get into that, just want to let everyone know that myself and Mace will be at Australia's official Super Bowl 58 party on Sydney Harbour, presented by the TAB and NFL AUNZ. Join us with NFL Australia and TAB for the official Super Bowl party on Sydney Harbour. Tickets are on sale right now, so for more information, follow the link in the bio. Also, we want to thank Jace and the team for Factory Sound. You can find them at factorysound.com. They have everything from DJ equipment, high-end audio, etc. So if you need anything like that, they're the place to go. We want to keep pumping the subscribers, Mace. We're flowing at the moment. We had a really good year last year, but we want to keep pushing that. So follow us on YouTube, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and make sure you subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and all.
TikTok? We're a TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, Facebook. We're there. We're on everything. We're on every platform.
We copped, I think, on the weekend. You read the comments, us talking over each other. Like just to the support. It's like sometimes we just get a little bit of overexcited. We're very, very aware of not talking over each other. So like we apologise to the listeners if last week was like that a little bit, but we just got a little bit. The last set was like that. We're very aware of that. We sort of, we're usually very good at that. So we'll try and stay on top.
We hadn't got any like that.
Yeah, we just I don't mind the criticism. We just stay on top of it and we just get better.
Yeah, so do I. Here we go, mate. We've got the Body Science energy drinks. Another part of doing content that I think over the years, whether it's if you've done some stuff on TV and you do the podcast, it's a great indication of sort of where you are health-wise too. You can see, if you're blowing out a little bit, my cheeks are getting a little bit chubby in particular. Yeah. So we're lucky that we've got Body Science, the energy drinks, and the detail around nutrition.
It is, mate. I mean, I've been ambassador for Body Science for over 20 years, so I've been very, very blessed. Like I've had unlimited Body Science product, like whether it be like fat burners, hydroxy burn, there's proteins, there's everything that you sort of need, So like, being in this sort of business, you can see yourself on TV and stuff like that, and you can notice, like I can notice yourself, if I've had a big weekend, I'm like, hey, you look a little bit different.
Like last episode?
Yeah, but then you're like, then the Thursday, because I fast a lot, and then you look a little bit different. So it's like, we are very blessed to have Body Science along, and just, especially not just having them along, just the education on nutrition and actually knowing what's going on. We're the perfect sponsors with Body Science. They're the best.
Yep, the BSE energy drinks are the ultimate solution for boosting focus and mental performance. So whether we're working out or doing the potty, mate, they are the Mickey. All right, let's get straight into it, eh? All right, like I mentioned, Rabbitohs gun Jack Wighton is reportedly considering a shock representative retirement backflip. Amid speculation, he had fallen out with coach Brad Fittler. Senior Rugby League journalist Brent Reid from The Australian and Michael Shamus from the Sydney Morning Herald discussed Wighton's New South Wales future following the appointment of the new coach Michael Maguire. I think there were suggestions even last year he might backflip on that decision, but now there's been a change of coach. This is from Brent Reid on their podcast Footy Talk. Does it just confirm he had the shits with Brad Fittler? Responded Shamus. If he backflips, and it probably hints that he did, from Reid. So
I don't think Reid's that far off.
Yeah.
I heard those rumours last year. I'm not going to name names. There was about 3 or 4 other players that weren't going to play either. Frustrated with the position changes, where they were playing, how the coaching, just murmurs, it's just murmurs. And that's all you need to hear, because usually most of them are true. When Jack played, Jack's an integral part of that whole winning culture there. He's playing 5'8", he's playing off the bench, he's playing left centre, he's playing way out of position. And I think he just got frustrated with being that, and he just decided to drop out. So if he does come back this year, it's because of that.
It'll be pretty clear, right?
It'll be very, very clear.
Indication that he was frustrated with Freddie. My next question would be, would Jack Wighton be part of your best 17?
Yeah, but yes, but where? Like that's I can see why the selectors had so much trouble with selecting him at his preferred position, where you had Luai and Cleary, or you had Cody Walker, or you had a left centre called Latrell Mitchell, a right centre named Tom Trbojevic. Like, where does Jack fit? He doesn't play back row, he can't play lock, he can't play fullback because you got a guy called Tedesco. So therefore, he probably plays your 14. So in the most stacked New South Wales side, he was 14.
Yeah, so I think I find it hard as well to place him. I like him in the 14 jersey, but I also wouldn't mind, because I think he's versatile enough to play, just say you use him as like 15, back row, centre, cover outside backs. And I think you could still afford to have an actual hooker on there. So whether you go with Uppy Coruscant or Damien Cook, for instance, I think Reece Robson's a lock. I like Reece Robson because he's versatile enough to play actual lock, whereas Cookie and Appy, I don't think they can.
Well, I just think it's going to be Appy and Robson.
Yeah, okay.
Like, don't you think? Like,
so because
last year, like Cook didn't he take his place?
Yeah, Cookie,
in the last game.
So Uppy played the first 2 games, but then he broke his jaw, right?
So who played the last one? Robson.
Cookie and Robson played games 2 and 3.
Okay.
What was that, mate? Yeah, Cookie ended up in the centres. But Robson played 80 minutes because Cookie had to go to centres to fill in for Latrell.
He come on,
Tommy, sorry.
So I don't know what you do.
That was game 2, pardon me.
I pick Appy as my starting 9. And then I think Cook hasn't done anything wrong at that origin level. He just carves up every time he plays. He's been one of our best for the last 6 or 7 years. I don't think he's played himself out. And I just think what he can add off the bench compared to Robson. Robson bangs. He's a great defender, but Appy bangs.
So that's why I prefer to have Robson starting for me. We're getting off topic with Jack Wighton, but let's finish this off.
Yeah, I know.
Because we were talking about positions the other day and the 6 jersey, and we didn't mention Jack Wighton once, right?
No.
So he's probably our 4th, 5th choice 5'8". He's probably going to play centres for South Sydney, it looks like, to begin the year. So he's super versatile. That's why, for me, would play him in the 15 swingman jersey. I wouldn't have him as a 14. So then, therefore, Robson would be my starter, and then I'd like to bring either Cookie or Uppy off the bench with that. Once they've taken the sting out of it.
What if South Sydney carve up on that left edge? So you've got, just say, Cam Murray plays left edge, Cody Walker's at left 5'8". You got Latrell, and you've got fucking Jack Wighton on that left edge.
Well, Latrell and Jack Wighton could be fighting for that left centre position against each other.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, or just say someone's playing Teddy don't start the season off that well. Latrell's coming out of the blocks. He's already lost about 8 kilos. Maybe he can play fullback at that level.
Will someone toss
I don't know.
up?
I don't know what it is. You know, like maybe like I'm not sure what the selectors are thinking, but that could be an option. But I'm thinking, you know, look, he is not a full blown like straight into the team.
Do you think it's exciting for all these players now? Like, not necessarily that Freddie's not coaching anymore, but it feels like everyone's got a clean slate again. Like we mentioned the Luai.
It is, yeah.
We mentioned who else was it that had sort of fallen out of favour? Someone mentioned Nico Hines. We forgot about Nico Hines, like in the 6 jersey, right? 2 years ago.
You got crucified for that Adelaide game,
He
remember?
played one game off the bench. He fell out of favour with Freddie. So Nico's well and truly alive again. I think it's exciting times for anyone, specifically that 6 jersey and even the hookers. I think they'll be ready to go.
We've got back rows everywhere. We've got front rows. We can handle every position. It's just about executing it on the field, picking the right players in the right positions. That's what I think players were frustrated with, getting picked out of position all the time. Yeah, well, what do you do when Turbo and Latrell, and then you got Teddy, and it's like, you know, I don't know what you do. It's harder than you think. You know what I mean? Like, look at the position. Look at the players that Freddie had at his, had to pick from.
Yeah.
And he picked the right players, but some players just didn't play good enough.
Yes.
You can't put it all on Freddie.
Yeah,
Some selections here and there maybe, but like you're still picking some gun players in that New South Wales side.
I'm super intrigued to see like the new era of Madge and what his selection process is like, because thinking about some of the teams he picked over from the Kiwis over the last couple of years, in particular the World Cup and last year, they were pretty much spot on to what I looked at.
Yeah.
That I thought the best team was for the Kiwis. And it's a little bit easier because there's probably less choices for the Kiwis.
I mean, a lot easier.
There was, more, there was representation from a lot of the Kiwis boys playing for the Islands, a little bit different than it had in years past.
And the fact that there's a lot of big dogs that sit behind the selections, right?
Yeah, okay.
Madge is the head coach, but there's about 4 or 5 selectors that whatever team they're going with, that's the team.
Who would have been part of, because I remember Freddie obviously had Brandy that he can find in.
I wonder who Madge's is.
Yeah, I wonder what his crew's like.
Yeah.
That'll be
That's crucial.
That'll be crucial.
It's very crucial. He needs I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. You'd love to think that he'd have a Ricky Stewart, but obviously he's not there. A Craig Bellamy as your senior sort, but they're not going to be there. None of those guys. So I really wonder.
Potentially?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think he's old enough and senior enough and been around the block enough to know what he's doing.
Yeah. He
He just needs some really good, defensive coordinators, some halves coach. You know what I mean? Like just some specialist coaches. That's all he needs. You don't need fucking 400 coaches.
We'll take a little break here so we don't. We'll come back with it, Lukey. All right, we got the names. I had a quick search on Google. So New South Wales Chief Executive David Trotton made the announcement today at the Centre of Excellence, also revealing that Maguire's high performance team will include John Cartwright, Matt King from the Roosters, and Brett White from the Titans.
I like it.
They're all premiership winning players, true blues, and current NRL assistant coaches.
Good.
So there you go. It's a pretty solid team. Highly respected Melbourne Storm football manager Frank Panisi will be the Blues team performance manager. Wow.
What about who's the S&C, I wonder?
Physical performance is Andrew Gray.
Andrew Gray, where's he from?
Not too sure. Yeah. And Sean Edwards is the strength and conditioning coach. You heard of them too?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, okay.
He'd have a good squad with him. He knows. He's been around the block for a while. It's great. It's a great thing for New South Wales. A whole fresh start. A new whole era is going to happen. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Speaking of new starts, with Madge moving on, mate.
Yep.
It's come out recently in the last couple of days. Wayne Bennett has officially put his hand up to coach the Kiwis. So makes a lot of sense.
Are we surprised?
He'd be a great candidate.
He's coached England and he's already coached New Zealand. He was assistant coach in 2008.
Yep, with Mooks.
Yeah.
And he has one more year left at the Dolphins, and then he's passing it over to Christian Wolf next year. So I think he's a great candidate, and he'd be...
It's great for the international game. It's Wayne Bennett. I know PVL sort of had a bit of a crack at him.
Yeah, that was funny.
I can't believe he's, coaching against us.
A lot of Kiwis weren't happy with that.
But he knows that. He knows it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a G up. But
people don't know the sarcasm and the banter.
Yes, you can take things out of context, right? PVL's a knock-around bloke. And Wayne just wants to help the international game.
Bit of a rivalry.
And that. He wants to put one over him because he wasn't the head coach. in 2008. Mooks was. You know what I mean? So like everyone thought, he was part of it and all that kind of stuff. You know, of course he was part of it, but like he wasn't the head coach. Head coach for them, gone to a World Cup final, Beasley off winning that. You know, but it's a different beast, New Zealand.
Yeah.
They're ready. They're prime, mate. The next
at the moment, they're the team. They knocked you guys off last year. I don't like to say we or wasn't part of it, but we knocked you guys off last year.
Yeah. Everyone's got to claim it, mate. Like New Zealand should be so proud. 30-0.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a role reversal where, if Wayne gets the job, he brings back Mooks. He brings back Steve Kearney, who's been an assistant coach, probably been a lot more successful as assistant coach than he ever was as a first grade coach, and really like perfect in that role. So
it would depend who they've had in the last, especially in that last camp. You're not going to brush any of those guys. You know what I mean? Like 30-0.
Depends who Madge takes with him. It's like he might some of these guys that we named. I'm not familiar with a lot of those guys that I just named. So
Benny Gardner. I think Benny Gardner was part of that.
Benny Gardner was with Madge, and he was coaching the New Zealand Māori.
And then he went to Samoa.
And then he went to Samoa.
So he's got Samoa, yeah.
Yep. So and he's also at Penrith at the moment. So
it'll be interesting. I mean, he's going to have some good people there. But you've got Wayne Bennett, New Zealand. That's it. That's your main dude.
Well,
the amount of respect that he has in the game and what he holds, and for you to be coached by him, you'll be telling your grandkids that.
Yeah.
Wayne Bennett coached me when I was playing for New Zealand. That's the aura that he had.
Turn up in camp. Wayne's there.
Wayne's the coach. You could be a young 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. Wayne Bennett coached me just before he retired. You know, that's the sort of legacy. And we pumped Australia or something, or got pumped by Australia, whatever it is. But Wayne Bennett has that aura and that legacy already. You get coached by him, you're like, I got coached by the best.
If we can't get Uncle Widemu back in the day, we get Uncle Wayne now. And the coaches aren't stopping there. Cowboys coach Todd Payten has explained the decision behind replacing Chad Townsend and Jason Tomalolo as captains with Tom Dearden and Ruben Cotter. So here's a quote for you, Mace. Looking at our group, a few guys right at the back end of their career, and over the course of the next 12 months or next 2 seasons, they won't be here for a number of reasons, and we needed to make a shift in that regard so that we had enough time to give the sport that Tommy and Rubes need to develop into the best campaign they can be when all that experience is gone.
Okay.
To be honest, I'll finish off quickly.
Sorry.
To be honest, they were a little bit surprised talking about Chad and Jace, but they understood where I was coming from. Both those guys have shown great humility around the decision, and they're willing and want us to be successful, and Tom and Rube successful, and they are going to give them all the support for us to get there.
Me dissecting this a little bit. Understand with Townsend,
12 months to go.
34 years old.
12 months to go on his contract.
Taumalolo's what, 29?
Jace is
29, turning 30 maybe?
30 years old. He's turning 31 this year. He's turning about a couple of months.
And he's got, what, 4 years on his contract?
He has 4 years left, yes.
That's not the end of his career, is it?
Well,
I mean, like he could stay there for...
It sounds like it's the end of his Cowboys career.
It sounds like, hey, if you get a better offer, kid, go. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I know a team who needs a couple of middles. Got a fair bit of cash.
Got a bit of light blue on the background here.
Yeah, the blue and white.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
It'd be perfect exactly for someone like that. Yeah. We don't. His leadership is not sitting there like a Mick Ennis and a James Graham, laying the law down, all that kind of stuff. He just leads by his actions, right? That's why he's co-captain.
Bit more of a Roy as a target.
Yeah, he just leads and he does. You know, he does Jason Taumalolo things, right?
Yeah.
But for him to have that conversation, I think it would have been like if you can find somewhere else and if you can get the 2 or 3 year deal there.
Compensation. Yeah.
There you go.
It sounds like that. It hints at that. It hints at, for me, if I'm reading between the lines and trying to figure out that quote, I'm looking at it going, for sure, obviously Chad, this will probably be Chad's last year. And I've got something a little bit later on that because I think Chad can go around for another couple of years with the right team.
With the right team.
But
exactly.
I think he's been a great contributor to the Cowboys and he's left them in a better place than when he arrived. So there'd be nothing but, I think, well-wishing from both Chad and the Cowboys at the end of the year.
This could light a fire under both these guys, man.
With Jace in particular, if it's not already on the cards and he's not being shopped around or given the permission to, there's a part of me that, with that conversation about him being pretty upfront and honest to him now by naming the captains, maybe Todd Payten goes, Jace, let's have one more, this last dance.
Yeah.
Like, One more year. You've got 3 years left.
And then we'll reassess.
Maybe
reassess. I think that might be it. We don't want to get rid of you, but we want to see Jason. He played an outstanding year 2 years ago. We've spoke about this before on our past show. Like, he just needs to be available. And he needs to be fully fit. And then you'll get Jason Taumalolo numbers. He just needs to look after his body. I always say best ability is availability. And when he's available, he's usually top 3 player on that field for them. And I just hope he gets his body right and his mind right, and this doesn't affect him like that mentally or anything, because I don't know. He's never been through any adversity like this. He's never been told that he'd have to go or saying that he's not playing well. So this is a little bit, this is a bit different well for him. For the last 10 years, it's been nothing but you're one of the best locks, one of the best forwards to ever play the game. Not just in your era, ever. I picked the top 13. He was my lock.
Yes.
That's where I put him. That's how high I put him.
Well, speaking of that, you were a part of his first ever game back in 2013.
2010.
2010. This is year 15 he's about to embark on. What sort of personality is Jace like? How will he handle that? And is he the sort of guy that will take this sort of criticism or honesty, really? Like if Todd Payten has gone to him and gone, this is the way we feel about it, is he the guy to kick stones and want to get out straight away? Would he be the sort of guy that goes, fuck it, let's try get a comp?
We'll have a look at the start of his career. He couldn't even get out more than 25 minutes. He went to the lab and got fit and fitter and become the best forward nearly of all time. So that was a bit of adversity at the start of his career, because I said, you're not going to make it because you can't play more than 50 minutes or 60 minutes. You end up being an 80-minute player. You know what I mean? Like, so he's got that in him.
Yeah.
So he's got that dog in him where he just went, you know what? Doesn't say anything. He's one of those people. He's not going to argue with Todd Payten going, I can do this. He'll be like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Then I'll just show you when I play. Yeah. Get my body right, and I'm going to destroy the whole comp. That's what I think he's built like.
But can he though? Because his numbers have been restricted in the last couple of years.
Been restricted because of whatever injuries he's had. Yeah. Whenever he's fully fit, 2 years ago he was dominating. Yeah. He was back to the old Taumalolo. He just needs to get his body right.
In 2022, he played 25 appearances. They won 18 games of those. That's 72%. Whereas in the years, last year in particular, he only played 16 games. They won 43% of that. The year before, they had a couple of rough years, remember? Yeah. Before they changed around 15, 16 games. He was pretty banged up in those years as well. Only 25%, 20% win rate. But that was a different Cowboys team as well.
Yeah, well, then they were going through the JT, the Gavin Coopers, and all these older blokes retiring.
Matt Scott.
James Tarmow moving on, Matt Scott, all these guys, and then he was never that leader. He just had to be, just turn up. He had Matt Scott and James Tarmow playing for Australia, playing for New South Wales and Queensland, two arguably the best props in the game. He's playing lock, getting off the back fence on the third fucking wave. After those guys, now he had to do that. He didn't have props. Jordan McLean and all these other guys weren't doing, they weren't those guys. Yeah. Now he's got the Ruben Cotters. Now he's got these other guys, Jordan McLean's, the Griffin Neems. He's got the guys to help him now. That's the reason why he played good a couple of years ago. He just needs to get his body right.
Yep.
And I think he's still got it. I don't think he's nowhere near past it. Nowhere near it.
In your heart of hearts, do you think Jace finishes his contract at the Cowboys, or you think he ends up playing somewhere as soon as next year, 12 months?
Well, I think he'll prove to everyone that he's still got it this year. And I think the hard talk that Todd Payten would have had with him, and he'll just shut his mouth, get as fit as he can, and just play.
Yeah. And it could extend him for at least another 12 months.
And then it'll be,
because he did say 2 years.
Then they'll work it out and see, like, if you want to keep playing to you, 35, that'd be 17, 18 years in the game if he fulfills his whole contract. Or does he just play another 2 years and just get on the coaching staff and then just play? And then and it depends how much he loves playing, right? This is all going to happen.
He looks like he loves it.
He still loves it. 15 years in, he still loves it. But I'm just saying, if he wants to carry on to 17, 18, year 17, 18, that's going to take a lot of toll. He ain't playing on the wing. He's playing in the middle. He's playing big minutes. He's hitting everything. The contact that he's copped in the last 10 to 12 years, it's been crazy, mate.
So here's something that factors in for sure, and this is going to be a part of it. And this is the ugly part of the game that you've got to consider. Cohen Hess been really good last couple of years. Yep. He's off contract at the end of the year. Griffin Neem, he's off contract in 2025. Same position basically. Hylam Lukey, 2024 with a player option for 25. He's going to request. In my opinion, I think his management will be talking to the Cowboys about an extension for decent amount of money. Jordan McLean's finished at the end of the year. The other tearaway, if it's not Hylam Lukey, it's Fine Fuiaki. He's off contract at the end of the year. So teams will be watching and circling. And if Jace is still on the roster, then it's going to be impossible to keep all these young talent. Even Luciano is finishing in 2025 as well.
I think the person that Jason Taumalolo is, he's a club man first, right? He's club first. So just in 2 years, he's got another 2 more years to go. There's 4 or 5 players off contract. They might have to go because he has to stay on $1 million. He might reconstruct the whole deal. Do you think Jack's
capable of that?
I think he is capable of that.
Yeah.
Or does he want to move down to Sydney? Because I don't think he really likes Sydney.
I'd hate to see Jason in a different jersey.
You know what I mean? Or does he reconstruct his deal and just play maybe 1 more year? There's ways around it, right? There's ways around it.
But the thing is, we talked about it last episode. He was on unders for so long. So now he's getting the juice. Maybe he might be on a little bit of money than his minutes warrant or his performance warrant now, but he's earned that.
He's earned every single dollar.
If I'm him.
Depends how he feels.
Yeah.
It's all how he feels. Have I earned everything I've earned? Yes, I have. Do I deserve to be on $1 million for my back 2 years?
Yes,
3 years? Yes, I do. Because then you start feeling, I'm not sure if he's invested his money right. I'm not sure what he's done with his coins. He could be set for life. Or he might be like, I need that $2 or $3 million. Because you're not going to get it earning somewhere else. Or going to another club because they're going to be like, nah, he's not worth that if he plays the back 2 years or just this year, especially this year, if it's like last year.
I think Cowboys would have to chip in for sure. They wouldn't be able to just completely...
Can't do that to him.
Well, they wouldn't be able to transition that contract anyway. I don't think teams at this point of his career, as great as he's been, would pay him $1 million.
We always say now, it's a business, right?
Yeah.
Look at him. He's declined a little bit. He's still better than bloody 80% of the forwards out there. Jason Taumalolo right now could fit into any side and start. And he's on a decline, they reckon. If you know what I mean? Like if you're a club, you're still paying him $1 million. Close to.
Yeah, sometimes we'll probably
850.
Yeah.
Like if he proves this year that he's Jason Taumalolo, they're going to get him for 2 more years just to fix that middle up, and he'll be on a fair bit of coin.
Yeah, I agree. Or at least the Cowboys will probably.
He ain't going to be dropping down to 300 or 400. He'll be dropping down to 850.
No way. All right. Like I mentioned, got a little bit of criticism around our picks on the Sharks, and we've had this before. So I got a message. Chad Townsend back to the Sharks and them 13-17. Mate, the hate is on your sleeve. That's from Giggle.
You don't hate Cronulla, do you?
Gigaplex. I don't hate any teams. I do not hate any teams.
There's no hatred there.
But here's my worry with the Sharks, and I'll throw out some things. By the way, Chad Townsend's 33, and I still think life after the Cowboys, he could add some value to a team for sure. But when I said Chad Townsend, I didn't necessarily mean like Chad Townsend is the fix for Nico Hines, but a Chad Townsend sort of player, in my opinion, would suit Nico better than Braden Trindle, who is more an off-the-cuff instinctual player. Yes. So that was my point with Chad Townsend. Wasn't necessary. I still do think Chad would be good for a season, a stopgap, to figure out if someone else become better available. A bit like the way that the Broncos viewed Adam Reynolds a couple of years ago. Now, both have won competitions before. Both game managers kick well, control the team, very vocal. But here's why I worry about the Sharks. And this is what's happened in the last couple of years since Craig Fitzgibbon's been there. Outstanding year 2022. They finished second, but they lose back-to-back weeks in the finals. They lose to the Cowboys, second versus third, and they got absolutely blown out by the Rabbitohs. Shining light, Nico Hines, Daly M Player of the Year. So there's some positives, don't get me wrong. But I was like, that's a little bit concerning to how bang they went. Rabbitohs were a good team, don't get me wrong. Then 2023, they're struggling through the middle part of the season. They have really big wins against the Cowboys and Rabbitohs. And then I started to go, maybe I was wrong about the Sharks because I was putting them out of the 8, right? Remember that. I wasn't high on the Sharks. I thought they weren't going to make the 8. Then they win the games against the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys game in particular when we were in New Zealand was super impressive. Yeah. They were dominant up there in North Queensland. And I was like, Braden Hamlin-Uele, Toby Rudolph were out. Now they've got a full deck of cards. They're going to trample teams. they go out the first week of finals again to a banged-up Roosters team that had Siwa Wong and Angus Crichton in the centres. They also had Sandon Smith playing fullback in that game. So that was the last time I seen the Sharks play. Now, 13-17 might be a bit low, but over the last couple of years, they've also lost 2 out of their 3 most influential players in Wade Graham and Andrew Fafita, arguably over the last decade. It's probably Gell. It's obviously Gell, Wado, and Andrew Fafita. Like those have been the guys at the Sharks over the last 3 years. That's a whole heap of successful veteran presence that's not there anymore. So I don't hate on any team. I just really have my concerns on the Sharks, and they've left a sour taste in my mouth the last 2 years at the back end of the season. So no hate towards the Sharks.
No hate. It's just real talk.
And
if you're a supporter, they would hate what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you like this, of course you should, because like you think that they're gonna kill it, but like when you put it down like that, just understand. If they're facts.
If they are to prove me wrong, and I hope they do, Nico's going to have to have a massive year. I think one thing that's in their favour, and they seem to have a really good culture around there with like a lot of positive energy.
Yeah.
Renato Mulatalo's really like Ronaldo. Dale Finucane's still there. He's going to lead by example. So you've lost a lot of experience, but you do have.
They lost
guys
him
like
at the back
Dale
end.
there.
They missed him.
Yeah. So, and I just think Wade Graham on that left end really steadied them at the back end of the year. So I could be proven wrong. Not a Sharks hater. I hope these teams prove me wrong, but those are just my reasons for it. Sometimes I don't get as in depth in the breakdown, but those are some of the things that I look at for sure.
Yeah, I like the Sharks. I'm not sold on Trindle. Not yet.
Either am
I need to see more of him.
Yeah, so do I.
I need to see those combinations with Nico Hines. I need to see his defence pick up. I need to see Nico's defence pick up. But Fitzy's one of the best defensive players in the game and defensive mind. So if he can't fix it,
he would have been working hard on it.
He'd be all defense because I rate them as a team. They're tough.
I also want Hamlin Uele or Royce Hunt to establish themselves as premier front rowers.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got, and this is respectful to the players as well. They don't have a number one, as in like when I look at Adam Fanua-Blake, he's a number one. Payne Haas, he's a number one. James Fisher-Harris, he's a number one. I think they've got a really like a couple of twos. Would be really good complementary pieces with a number one. But Hamlin Uele and Royce Hunt have got the potential to be a number one. I think Toby Rudolph is a great number two. I think like there are some other players that like I don't think Toby's ceiling is always going to be rock solid. He's their worker. But in this day and age, I feel like you need a number one to at least be pushing for that.
Man, I reckon Hamlin, well, he's ascending that way.
Yeah.
He is. Like his leg speed and his aggression and everything. Like he can be that guy. He just needs to stay on the field. A couple of little shitty little injuries threw him off last year, but it was a couple of games, man. He was just dominating everyone. His leg speed, he's like a Fanua-Blake. Imagine those two big bastards next year.
I feel like he does it every 5 to 6 games. We just need a little bit more consistent because the top props do it every week. And the Warriors seem to be looking at him too because there's been reports that they wouldn't mind. Oh, what do we got here? GI at Tigers training.
Tigers,
I've seen that. That's just it's GI.
Is he helping the young fella Buller?
He's helping our dream Buller because they've got a
It's good to see GI back in the game, but
it is,
good mates with GI, and he's always been like he stood back from the game for a fair bit.
Had a bit of a break.
He just could, he's GI, man. He's one of the greatest players to ever do it. And he was just consumed with rugby league ever since he was 16. Like all of us. But, he just wanted to go out there and play golf and just chill out. Lives out in Gregory Hills out near Camden, just on this, just fucking.
Got a bit of land.
If you know GI, mate, he don't give a fuck. He's there, but he's got so much to give. So much. He comes into Origin camp and everything. That gets his little fix. He does stuff with Triple M. But it's great seeing him back in the NRL because he is one of the greatest. He is the greatest outside back to ever play the game in my eyes.
He'd have a great relationship with Shane Richardson too.
And that's the reason why he's there. Richo looked after him his whole career. But just to have him back at the West Tigers of all clubs.
I like what the West Tigers have done.
Yeah, mate.
They've had a good off-season.
They're going, GI, like he ain't just there to teach Buller. He's there, that whole back five. And you're 5'8".
If you're not a player, I don't care. I play back row. If GI's in the building, even though he's there to coach probably Jerome Buller or specifically the outside backs, I'm talking to him.
But don't sleep on GI's footy IQ either. He's smart as hell.
Yeah.
He knows every single position from left, right wing, left centre, right centre, 5'8", everywhere.
One of Clive Churchill.
He's a gun, mate, and a great person. So I'm glad to have him back in the NRL.
All right, let's move on to the Warriors. Going through the games, they've got a really big one. One of the favourite sons is back, mate. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck returns from rugby union. couple of nice other buys as well. Chanel Harris-Tavita returns from retirement.
Oh, good.
He had a gap year. He had a year off. And Kurt Capewell just recently comes over from the Broncos.
It's a big buy.
So they lost Viliami Valea, a player that I like. I remember we mentioned on the Cowboys episode. Bailey Sirinen goes to the Catalan Dragons.
Good luck.
Our boy B. Willie, Braden Williami retires. Shout out to B. Wills.
Yeah.
Mutters Curran, he's with you at the Dogs. Ronaldo Volkman, that whole Dragon situation has not been resolved yet. And Vailingi Kepu has been released.
It has been resolved. The Warriors are paying for it.
As in, he doesn't have a club yet, mate. That's what I meant by that. Lukey was saying that the Warriors have indeed looked
Good
after
on the
his medicals.
Warriors.
Shout out to the
He
Wires
still
on
doesn't
that.
have a club, yeah.
But yeah, he's going to have to require surgery, and hopefully he gets back ASAP and gets a club.
He'll get a club.
Someone can latch onto him halfway through the year.
You get a club.
Get him a training trial and work
Even
towards
St.
getting back
George
in
should be
NRL.
looking at re-signing him. He's there.
Yep.
You're rehabbing him. You're not going to rehab him for nothing. You know, you want something out of him. Imagine if he comes back and beats that dude.
All right, here we go. OG, got some breaking news. Before we get on to the teams, Kalen Ponga on a collision course with Reece Walsh as Night Star confirms Origin intention. So he was at it looks like he's been interviewed here for the Knights. Newcastle
quotes? Yeah.
superstar Kalen Ponga has revealed he won't be available to represent Māori All-Stars next month, but he will put his hand up for Queensland selection and opt in after he opted out of the 2023 series. The revelation puts him on an enthralling collision course with Broncos young gun Reece Walsh.
Oh, I love it.
I do want to put myself forward for Queensland this year. Ponga told Triple M Newcastle tenure and Steve on Wednesday. Hopefully we can have another good season here, or I can play Origin. Ponga's a rainy Dalian medalist. Let's get some quotes. It's a special game for both cultures, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of it for 3 series now, talking about the New Zealand Māoris. But I want to focus on the Knights and get myself right for the season. So a few things to take in there. Let's start off with, I think obviously as a club you'd love it. Newcastle
Yes.
Knights are stoked. Not only did he put the Knights first last year by turning down Origin or part of that decision about not playing Origin, he's done it again now to start the season well at the Knights after coming off such a successful individual and team year. So the Knights are going to be pumped straight away.
Yeah, you'd be stoked. I mean, he's putting the Knights first. I know what it's like playing for Newcastle. You know, you signed probably one of the biggest deals in the history of that club. Well deserved too. He deserves every single part of his money, but that with the money becomes a lot of pressure, right? You walk around the streets there, you don't play that good football. As I said, they'll check you. You know, and he's like he played that well last year, and everyone knew that he was under the pump all year about getting head knocks and everything like that. And that little fucking animal still turned up every single week. They'll never forget that what he did.
Well, now he's set the bar for
Yeah,
himself.
but I'm just saying football's easy for him.
Yeah.
It's not a challenge for him to go out there and carve up all the time. We know what you're doing when we look at you. Good luck stopping it.
Yeah.
When you have all those moving pieces and everything like that, they know how he plays. They've got the right positions and all the right people in the play, like all the players, everything's there.
Everyone
and I
was
just
doing
love
film
how
and
he's
they
there.
still couldn't stop him, could they?
They still couldn't stop him. We knew exactly what he was doing. You get to the middle of the field, it was a lot 5-on-4. He just smoked the fucking B and C and then out the back, all that sort of stuff. He just made it look real easy. But his commitment to Newcastle is what Newcastle people want to see, and I'm glad he did that.
Captain of the club.
And he's a captain of the club. Like, if you're a New Zealand Māori or anything like that, don't say anything. Don't be pissed off because he's played 3 series in a row.
Yep.
It means a lot to him, you know, but it means a lot to him playing for Newcastle and playing Origin as well. He wants to go head to head with Walsh.
Love that.
That's what I love. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's his position. He should be the one.
He had it for 3 years.
He's the fucking
That
one
was his spot.
for Queensland, and he should have been nearly picked there. He would have been going head to head with Teddy if he had decided to play for Queensland last year. You know what I mean? Like, it's his position, mate. Walsh they're not going to pick Ponga in front of Walsh because of what Walsh did for Queensland last year.
You don't think it's a
I know what
competition?
they're like. I think it's going to be a fair competition, but you're going to probably put Ponga at 14. Because of Walsh, because of what he did last year. He was fucking year player of the series if he didn't get suspended or some shit like that. You know what I mean? He was one of the best players.
Yeah, he was up there.
He's up there, mate. So he's stamped his foot down. Now Ponga's coming for it. And I love that competitive shit and fucking players.
Iron sharpens iron,
Yeah,
baby.
man. And he's going to go at it. He's going to go for the Knights. And it coincides with him playing brilliant football when Newcastle get picked in that side first. Because who's the 14 for Queensland? Ben Hunt, has he retired yet? I don't know. He'll probably try and go again. DCE, is he out?
That's a big decision.
Sam Walker, is he out? Like all these guys, you know what I mean? Like it's a big decision. These guys are still on top of their game. DCE's still on top of his game. Ben Hunt's still on top of his game for Origin. They're not going to let that go. They're not going to let it go.
See the Broncos and Knights until back into July as well.
They don't play until the back. So Lukey just said that the Knights and Broncos don't play until the back end of July as well.
That's right. And
It doesn't
right with Origin.
That's going to be fun to watch. If
It's just fun to watch them each week.
Yeah.
Just to see how hard they go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they don't need to play against each other
No.
to be competing against each other. do they?
No. They'll be just competing, just the way that the stats and all that sort of stuff, and wins and losses, and how they're going on the ladder.
Walshy seems like the type of kid to read this and take it personally.
You should.
in the best possible way.
Walshy should.
Yeah,
because
they'll
he's
get
like
competitive
Because
on
he'll be
this.
like, shit, that's Kalen Ponga. I looked up to him. 4 years ago. Now I got his spot.
Yeah.
Come and get it.
I love it. I'm looking forward to the battle, boys.
Yeah,
Do your
man.
best work, baby. All right, mate. Let's get into my Warriors predicted lineup. So, despite the favourite son coming back, Andrew Webster gave him his word. FaceTime, Chance Nickel-Clock said he's still fullback. One spot I think is a lock is Dylan Martinez-Lesniak, but there's also been chat if Roger doesn't play centres, he could indeed play wing. Therefore, a guy like Marcelo Montoya could miss out on his spot, but I got Marcelo because he was really good last year.
Yeah, he was unreal.
Therefore, I've got Roger in the centres, and I've got Rocco Berry beating out Adam Pompey. Who do you
I
think
don't
keeps the
mind it.
spot?
I think
the
Rocco
centres
Berry
if
was
Roger-
good.
Yeah. Adam Pompey played every minute of every game last year too. He was outstanding.
Well, it depends what side
Roger
RTS wants to play.
Yeah.
Does he play right
Do you
side?
think that will determine it? It won't come down on who you
Because
think
like
the best player
he's
is
got a
rather
mad
than
left foot, but he developed a right foot as well. So if he can play on the left, he will sharpen you up with that left foot.
So is his best work his left?
Yeah, if he's left foot. He was
Okay.
always left foot. Then around about 2015, 16, he started developing right foot. So it was in and away. So he started smoking people like that. So,
So does left edge make more
left
sense?
side centre is his position.
Well, that's Adam Pompey's spot.
Yeah. And who's your 5'8" there?
That's tough as well.
And who's your left back rower?
I've gone Metcalf as my 6,
Yep.
but I think Tomato Martin will obviously put some pressure on him.
Who's the left side back row?
Left side back row is Kurt Capewell.
That's good. That's a good side.
Good edge, eh?
Yeah. Then you got Nick Core on that other side.
Near quarter on the right
He's a
with
gun.
looking after SJ
Yep.
with potentially Rocco Berry. Front row stays the same. Adam Fanua-Blake and Mitchie Barnett. Wade Egan was outstanding. He's been outstanding for a while. Tohu Harris stiffens up the middle, the OG through the middle. And their bench pretty much picks itself as well. The board bros off the bench, Dylan Walker, Jazz Tavanga. Jackson Ford, I think, goes back to the bench. He had a really good season, breakout season last year. And Buntiga 4.
It's a decent side.
Yeah, it's a good team.
It's a decent side. I like it. Just depends where they put RTS. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's the big question mark because apparently I watched
Senators changed.
I watched the New Zealand Warriors podcast, and Monty Beetham was on there, and he reckons my player to watch as well. By the way, Ali Lautau, who played a few games for him last year. Apologies if I pronounced that name wrong. Has been on fire. And Monty said on the podcast,
What position is he?
he's centre, so. He's going to be putting some pressure on also, probably not Rog, because Rog will play either centre or wing no matter what, but maybe like the Rocco Berries or the Adam Pompeys of the world.
Oh, they'll be under the pump, big time. Yeah, RTS, man. That's the only concern. Where do we play him? Do you know what I mean? Like he's got so much talent.
Where would you be playing?
We're playing a fullback. That's it.
Well, over Chansey?
Yes.
Where do you play Chance then?
Fucking centre, left centre. They just have to learn how to, I don't know, they'd have to swap.
I'd probably be more inclined to keep Chance there because at least
He
Rogers
deserves
played
it.
multiple positions.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Because he killed it last year. He knew he was under the pump. He had to prove himself, prove to everyone, it's my spot. Good, it's your spot.
Yeah.
It's his spot till he loses it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it. But then I'm not sure where you put RTS. He's a right arm carry. He carries the ball in two hands, but he tucks it in his right. He's a left arm, predominantly left foot step. He's going overs all the time. Then he can cut back, so he could play right centre easily and left centre. So it's just like he's just got so much talent. It's unbelievable. You just want to put him in those positions wherever the ball is predominantly going. Need him to get there. I don't want him to play right side centre and just kick chase, and then get back, play twos, play threes.
Yeah, because Rocco Berry on the right in particular, he runs that really strong, tough line for Shawnee. So I think he'll stay on the right. And on the left, they had that real beautiful shape. Remember when they would have the lead runner like a middle and they'd play the little fan shape out the back, and the fan shape is the block for block.
Yep.
I think he'd be perfect on the out.
Yeah.
They did this skip. So Luke Metcalf would be at the back, or Tamani Martin. Wade Egan could double cut out, tunnel ball through to Rog.
Yeah.
Nice soft hands on the left as a left centre, or jam come off the left.
Because you got so much talent, right? Just that left foot, right foot, all the skills. And he would have picked up a shitload playing union as well.
Yeah, a little bit thicker probably.
Yeah,
too.
but like left to right passing, right to left passing, they stick it. They all they do is pass. He would be nailing that. So it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
A great problem to have because
Iron sharpens iron, eh?
yeah, because they'll be going at it.
All right, for the Warriors to win the grand final, they had $19 to make the GF, $9 to win the minor premiership, $21 to make the top four, $3.25, and to make the top eight, $1.65. To miss the eight, they're $2.10. Here's a question from Bosco Harris. Do you believe the Warriors could be the Cowboys of 2022 to 2023 and completely fall off, be a one-hit wonder?
They've been known to do this.
They do scare me like that.
They scare me like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking what Webster has installed and that culture and how they were so consistent last year, and they bought into what the whole ethos and everything was, the culture, what they're building.
That was the Cowboys the year before, though.
Yeah, I know. See, that's why I'm shitting myself because and the Warriors are known for that better than anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll fall off.
Okay.
I honestly don't. But they do have potential, but I just don't think they will.
Yeah, I'm slightly worried about it.
I'm very worried. I'm very worried about it.
I think the inclusion of Rog will be a reason they manage to not get complacent.
And
I think a guy like Rogers watch from afar, and when he comes back and goes, I want to be a part of this and push the standards, continue to push the standards.
And going, we're a chance to win something here.
Yeah, they are.
This could be special. Fanua Blake's going, like you're not going to have that premier front rower. Like you've bought Capewell, you've stacked the deck. You have stacked the deck for a competition this year. That's what they're going for.
Out of all the teams in the top eight that we've addressed, the probably Roosters and Warriors have got the biggest gains without not too many loss, without a crucial loss.
They're better than last year.
Yeah.
Capewell does all those little things. He kick chases everything. He's down there all the time. He does his play twos. He just runs. He's a selfless player. He'll just run decoy. He might get the ball like 4 or 5 times, but they might be tries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he just does all these little things. You know what I mean?
For Metcalf,
perfect for Metcalf. Perfect for RTS and like that whole left edge.
Yeah.
No one really gets around him. Yeah. And does he play left edge? Does he play right? He plays left, doesn't he?
He plays left, Capewell. Yep.
Left arm carry, yeah, he does. So, but he can play anywhere too. So he's very versatile. He can play in the centres as well. Seen him play in the centres. Played Origin centres.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
2020
marking up against Turbo, I think.
Like, mate, ridiculous. So I think they don't lose much. They gain everything, and they were a top 4 finish.
My predicted finish, I've got them just outside. I actually had them on 5th, but I've got them in the 5 to 8. I think
doesn't matter for them.
The Warriors will be consistent again. If they can sneak into the top 4, that's a bonus. But I'm not too worried about them dropping off.
No.
I've got a little bonus question from our mate Vintage Jackson. He's asked, Waz versus Storm are not playing on Anzac Day anymore, or this year anyway. New Zealand gets a home game, but it's against the Titans. I'm a bit disappointed in that.
Sucks.
I didn't know that was the case.
There's no Anzac Day test anymore, which was great. And then that was the closest thing was Melbourne and
oh yeah, so no Anzac Day test. Yeah, sorry.
Like there's, like the St George and the Roosters, they play on Anzac Day, which
I enjoyed
great.
The rivalry. Didn't like the Warriors.
It was crazy. Storm. The Warriors and Storm, at least that's New Zealand and an Australian team. There was I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they did it. Why did they do it? Why are the Titans the team?
Yeah, if you know the reasons, and we've missed it because I was trying to look.
Did Melbourne, they don't want to take their home game to New Zealand? Is that right?
Yeah.
Fuck, they should be still thanking New Zealand
I agree.
About the fucking COVID, about saving the whole competition. So if they want the home, if you can bring a home game to New Zealand, you should be still doing that. Don't forget, it was only a couple of years ago they saved the whole NRL. If you've got an opportunity to take your home game to New Zealand, you should be doing it.
Yeah, it's funny from Melbourne, so let's get on to them, right? 2024 losses, Tarek Sims, Le Catalans.
Is he the Catalans?
Yeah. Jaden Nickaruma's gone there as well. George Jennings is unsigned. Jordan Grant is unsigned. Tom Eisenhuth went to the Dragons, and Juzzy Olam was a part of that train to the West Tigers for their only gain of the off-season, Sean Bloor. So my predicted lineup, and centres is a little bit harder, but I got Ryan Pappenhausen. There's news today. I've seen a clip on Instagram today that he's in line to play in the trials.
Trial game, yeah.
He's going to get a trial game. So that's great news for not only Pappy, the Storm, but rugby league. So it's always a better competition when he's back.
Him, mate. Awesome.
Got Will Warwick and Will Warwick on the wings. meant to be Xavier Coates. I got centres a little bit tougher. You got a combination now that Justin Olam's moved on of Nick Meaney, young Tonamapea, if indeed Nick Meaney doesn't play fullback, that is, because Nick Meaney could still be their first choice fullback until Pappy gets some Ks under the legs. But I've got Nick Meaney on the left. I've got Marion Seve on the right, and I've left out a couple of big names, in particular Remus Smith, who Marion Seve beat out Remus Smith last year.
He got injured, but start of the year.
But even when he come back, Remus Smith he was on the wing. He was on the wing. And young Tonamapea also beat out Remus Smith as well. So some competition in the outside backs for sure. No competition in the halves. Cam Munster and Jerome Hughes. Christian Welsh. I got Nelson up front with Harry Grant. Alessi Katoa had a really good season.
Only going to get better.
And Trent Liero is a young kid who's, I think he played, at one point he played every minute of every game for a long period there.
That's so much.
Josh King is a typical Melbourne Storm player. On the bench, I've got either Tyron Wishart or Sua Falongo, the young tearaway.
Got to have that young kid in there.
Got Tui Kamakamitha, Sean Bloor, come over from the West Tigers, gives a bit of versatility off the bench, and Bronson Garlick.
Yeah.
Player to watch, Sua Falongo.
Easy. Out of the whole NRL, he's the player to watch.
Yeah.
Not just fucking Melbourne.
Yeah.
He's the guy. I mean, Melbourne will make the 8 just simply because of Grant, Munster, Jerome Hughes, and Pappenhausen even if he's half fit.
Yeah.
Nelson, Welsh, those names, they'll get you through. They know how to win games. The culture is crazy, right?
They're almost a lock for top 4 because of those names, right?
They just get – I was thinking in my head, I'm like, maybe it's time for them to fall off. And I'm like, no, they weren't going to fall off because they've still got Munster and they've still got their Jerome Hughes and all these sort of guys. And, who knows, just say for Remus Smith and Seve, they might have a breakout year because if he's fit, Remus Smith, he plays for New Zealand.
Yep.
He just
2 years ago he does.
But he just got busted up a little bit last year.
Injuries. He injured his knee at the back end of 2022 and he was having his best campaign.
Those blokes need, they need that extra bit of speed. So Josh King, all those sort of blokes. Liero's going to have his second year.
Full year.
Yeah, second full year. The other back rower, like he can Katoa. Like he can play. Like he just needs. He's going to get used to the fitness and how they play. He got used to it. Sort of middle of the year, back end of the year, start making some line breaks, all that kind of stuff.
They forced him into 80 minutes. They
forced him. Yeah, you're just playing. Big Nelson. I'm not sure if you. Big Nelson's is the big key to that side.
All right, let me get to a question then, because this one's from Jake Coolwell, sorry. Thoughts on Storm front row rotation? Would you start Nas and bring Tui off the bench? So the reason he asked that is because out of 20 games that Nelson played last year, he only started in the front row 6. He was off the bench for 9 of them, and he also played a little bit of back row when Alessi Katoa was out either suspended or injured as well. So what's Nas's best position for a Melbourne Storm?
I think the way that Bellamy looks at things, it's all about matchups. Like sometimes if you want to go straight through the front door, you start Nas, right? But depends who you're playing, right? If you play against Penrith, it's hard to go against Leota, Fisher, Harris because they don't care about Nas. They'll go and they'll attack him. Mitch Kenny, their body type can get underneath him. If you're playing a lesser team with no real middles, you start Nas in the middle, right? And he will just destroy you if he wants to, right? And off the bench, sometimes you just want to give him a rest. Just say if your middles can do the job, Kamitha can do a job, Wells can do a job. You need some impact. Just say you've got nobody coming off the bench, and he's the only dude that he can because he's got that leg speed, he's got everything like that, and he's powerful. He can come on and just be destructive. Welsh can't do that. Kamitha can't do that.
They weather the storm.
They can weather the storm. Get the big boy on after 20 minutes, play the back end in 20, and he can just do some shit that no other player can do. And sometimes when he needs to protect or spot up their Left 3, just say if it's a young kid who can't, you just say Sullivan or someone who's not a very strong defender, you get that big bugger out there on that right edge and you just give him early ball so he can just trample him and protect his 3-man as well. If you've got a young kid who just say it was Garlic and someone else, or just say they played
2 years ago, it was Cooper Johns.
Yeah,
right?
Cooper Johns, and you've got to protect him. You know what I mean? So you got to sort of run near Nas to like. Even he's just got to tackle you around the legs, and he just comes over the top. So he can play a plethora of positions, and the reason why is because of that.
So you just like his versatility.
He's versatile.
You don't want to lock him into a position. You
No.
don't want him to be the starting front row.
No, because you can. I don't care how big and strong you are in today's game. You cannot just destroy a game in the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? It's easier for him to even play a little bit wider in the first 10 or 15 minutes and have Walsh and Kamikamitha just like take those hard hits. Get a little bit wider, get at the 4-man, get at the 3-man.
You start to get the joy of the back end of halves even more so, don't you?
You know, and even if he comes on as a back rower, you know what I mean? That takes that real craziness out because the start of the game is brutal. And you're going to three people are hitting him. He's a big human. He can handle the hits. You know what I mean? But like he's getting hit 3 ways: hitting the ball, hitting the hips, 2 legs, this and that, trying to drive him back. So like you can nullify Nas, but then sometimes you can't. Depends on where you are in the game, what time, what position.
What you said right at the start. I think matchups is
key.
Important. I think you think of the last game that they played against Penrith where he sort of lost his shit at the start of that game because they started him and they wanted him to go, be an enforcer. And I think sometimes
Liam Martin just went at him.
The whole team. Well,
he was on the other side, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Because remember, I was looking forward to it. I said, I want Liam Martin to go over there. So I think Sorensen and that, they just move real quick, Penrith. They're just fucking quick.
I think they started Christian Welsh off the bench, actually, and Nas started in the front row, but he was just trying to really hit Cleary a couple of times. It wasn't crazy bad.
Yeah, but
it was just a push, but it was late.
Yeah.
And it looked way worse, and then you slow it down.
It's all matchups.
All right. For Melbourne Storm to win the competition, $13 to make the grand final, $6.50. Minor premiership, $11. Top 4, $2.75. Top 8, $1.55. And to miss the 8, $2.25. I'm really excited for the Storm this year. I know we talked about it at the back end of last year and to start the season that Cam Munster and Jerome Hughes were back training pretty much straight after they'd finished the Pacific Cup.
Sends a message.
And they seem like they're pretty keen for a big year.
They can fuck around and make a grand final, can't they?
Easy.
They made the top 4 last year.
I'll run through.
They made the top 4 last year. Everyone thought they weren't going to make the 8.
Yeah. Everyone's waiting for the drop-off. And
they don't drop off with those players,
I've used
mate.
the system to determine my top 8 this year and bottom 8. And I'll go through that. After next week, I'll go through my system.
I'll tell you my system. Fucking good front rows, decent halfback.
That was pretty much it.
Yep. Do you know what I mean?
I'll give you a bit
decent
more of a
halfback and a fucking good fullback.
Yep.
That's it.
I had a point system. Put it that way. I had a point system.
And that's what they've got. Dogs up the front, halves, guns,
best
fullback. Who cares? And everyone else just, then you'll make the 8.
Yeah. And remember, what are you really gambling with? And if you need free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or you can hit gamblinghelponline.org.au. OG,
Yep.
Another great episode. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the weekend and we'll come back with the 2 big dogs.